we have a motion to adjourn executive session and return to regular session.
Motion to adjourn executive session and return to regular session without any changes.
A motion by Mr. Dean. A second by Mr. Bass. Any further discussion? All in favor of adjournment? All right. The motion carries with unanimously with 6 votes, and we are now in our work session.
At our meeting on the 17th, we'll have one public hearing regarding 701 Chase Avenue. That's a request in the Matthews Mill Village to rezone from R4 to R7. We talked about this one pretty at length. I think everybody's comfortable with this one. So this will be a public hearing. I did provide you guys a little bit of information about what we determined happened with this property. So this is the one that y'all had questioned why the lots were so small. And so it appears that even though that's zoned R4, it was approved prior to zoning being put in place. It was 7 lots were built, the ones in green, and then Todd Bailey wanted to develop the rest of it, and so Planning Commission granted a variance so he could complete the development based on that you see there. So that's how those lots ended up smaller. I know I had a couple questions.
Figured that out.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions about this request?
Remind me, so Planning Commission recommended approval with a 7-2 vote, but what did planning staff?
Planning staff recommended approval because we were siding with the fact that it was high-density residential before, and that was our original recommendation.
Gotcha. Thank
We
you.
just stayed with it.
I think I asked that last time. Thank you. All right. Any further discussion points about this proposed ordinance? All right. And this is second read.
It'll be a public hearing, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And is that the only public hearing?
Yes. But don't worry, we have 10 new business items.
All right.
All right, so first new business item we'll discuss is going to be request for rezone 1010 Coleman Drive from R10 to general commercial. This is a request by Hugh Mosley. He owns this parcel, and I believe there's an adjacent property that has a warehouse on it, and he had mentioned just kind of think casually, like I'd like to maybe put some warehouses on it. So this is kind of a mixed bag in this area. There's a lot of different zoning back here, is there not, Carol?
There is. There's still one that's like considered industrial, but it's not zoned that
So
way.
you got some GC, some R10, some R7. This is adjacent up to our place restaurant. So pretty close to Montague as the crow flies.
And the future land use is commercial.
Yeah. And planning staff recommended approval, and planning commission recommended approval with a 9-0 vote.
But this may be,
I think Carol did talk to Hugh Mosley, and he's good to go with the GC, right?
He's okay with GC. He thought he could do like mini storage, but that's not allowed under GC. And I did make him aware of that because he said something at planning commission, so.
How many mini storages can we have? We have
Pardon?
I wish people would
Well, it's
store-
not allowed
I wish
under
people
GC,
would
so
store
it's
those
irrelevant.
mattresses in there that
Yeah.
they're putting on the side of the road.
He just thought it because he has a warehouse, a pre-existing warehouse adjacent to it.
I
He
think,
said he would help with
Ms.
something.
O's is how many can our market sustain? I mean, because we have so many.
Any questions about that one? Okay, the next one is, planning commission had a pretty heavy
I need
agenda.
to recuse myself from this discussion. Y'all can grab me. You good? All right.
This is Ronnie's 400 Greenwood City Council meeting.
Wow.
That's awesome.
400.
I've had 401, I've only missed one in
Wow.
15 years.
Are you?
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
So this is a request by Greenwood Development to rezone two parcels off an unnamed alley at the intersection of East Henrietta and Cotesbury. They own the adjacent parcel, which is this purple parcel here, that's zoned R10. And that parcel is actually adjacent to University Commons, which is at the corner there, Durst and Coke, is that Durst? Laurel.
It's Cokesbury, Laurel, yeah.
Cokesbury. And so I know in the meeting, Greenwood Development said they don't have any plans to develop this parcel, they want to sell it. And they thought it made sense to rezone these two parcels to R10 because they just said they thought that
Consistent.
made sense. There were several people there from Henrietta Heights, and one person just kind of spoke for the group opposed, and PC did deny this unanimously. Yeah.
In full disclosure, we did post it on Cokesbury
Yeah.
because it was, you can see right there, because the alley, as we refer to in the game as Nunami.
Okay.
I did notice that alley is owned by an individual.
Right.
Yeah.
So they won't have access, these two lots would not have access through that alley. And I think that was the biggest concern from the community, was that they were gonna create some access there. They do have over 1,000 feet, like 1,600 feet of frontage along Cokesbury, because they've acquired all of that property from the villas / University Commons all the way back to those houses.
Yeah, and I think they're, just based on some like neighborhood communication I saw in Henrietta Heights, like on their neighborhood app, it seemed like they were of the impression that Greenwood Development wanted to rezone these parcels and then sell it to all that could be developed as R10. They said in the meeting that they didn't have any plans to do that, but, you know, I mean.
So where's the alley at? I know this is, when we get to the end of Cokesbury, the church is here on the right, and the apartments, University College on the left.
It's coming this way towards Durst, so that at the bottom of this Henrietta.
See,
Let me give you a little bit of direction.
Yeah.
The church.
That's the house that burned at the
This is
top.
Henrietta.
The
right
church
here.
is down here.
Uh-huh.
Right.
That
You go back
church,
up, and then, so the church is down here.
Uh-huh.
You're going back toward Laurel that way,
right.
right?
Okay,
So Laurel's
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
so the
That's
church,
Watford Avenue.
and the apartments you're talking about are way down here.
Yeah.
Way down.
Right.
Yeah.
And I drive by this 4 or 5 times a day, and I'm telling you, I've never seen that, not one time.
I didn't even, we had to go search it out. I didn't even realize there was a
It's
no-name
overgrown.
alley.
It's
Gotcha.
there.
Yeah.
So Durst would be a little bit down this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that house right there at the corner, one of the ones up there burned,
It did.
and that's, they
And
haven't,
And it's compliant, no, it's down.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
finally tore it down. It took forever to
I
tear
think
it
we
down.
tore it down.
So
I think
that's why you might know that area.
I think it's the second house, which is there, that burnt down, it's either this one or this
I
one.
think the
It's not-
city actually demolished it.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong
Then
on
there's
that,
a
because
funny
sometimes
little lot
they-
back there too.
Anyway, planning commission recommends denial of this request.
Okay.
Want to grab the mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe that, that alley, do what we do, so we'll close it up. I think $120,000,
For that house?
It is the one that burned there. There's another house on the other side.
I think the city tore it down.
taxes are like $5 a year. That can do it back. Close it up. On GIS. $120,000.
All right, new business number 3 is another rezoning request. This one is a,
Addison,
this is
yeah.
a request by Land and Lee to rezone a parcel at 114 Addison Avenue from RM7 to LIW. The parcel right now contains like a house and a warehouse and a garage, is that right?
It's just, actually, it's just a,
the
just a garage.
And it used to be used as an auto repair, I believe. And then I guess it was abandoned as that use, and so the owner wants to sell it to somebody that wants to operate the garage as HVAC, but the zoning doesn't allow for that anymore. So in order to do that, he has to have it rezoned from the RM7 to the LIW. Staff recommended denial, planning commission recommended denial 8-1. I think.
So I want to pause right there for a minute. This guy called me last week about this. Morton, I think it was. realtor guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was complaining that, I know exactly the place, where he's talking about. It's a big garage, it's old, sitting in a field, like
Mhm.
right there, but there's, that whole development is houses there. And when he was standing next to me, you know, could we go and look at it, I told him there's a protocol to this, but he was angry because he says nobody, you know, is doing nothing with it, but they got somebody that wanna live in there. But I told him that's not how it works. And, you know, he said he had talked to you, Carol, I believe.
One of the questions that they had when they made the application, or after they made the application, is that they said the garage predates a lot of the residential there. And I did go back and look, so the garage was built in 1968.
That's what Fred was used to.
And a lot of the residential that's around there was built after that date.
Mhm.
So I just explained that it was kind of absorbed when that area was owned under the current scheme, and that we really couldn't make a change to it or even recommend a change to that direction. It's on a dead-end street, it's completely located within a residential area. We have a planning commission member who wasn't there the other night that actually lives over there on the same street, and just the other direction. And I said I would love to be able to support it. I understand where you're coming from, but based on theory and everything pointing in our direction, it's a no-go.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions about this one? That's all the zoning ones.
Thank you. And I do want to point out that we did have discussion, we're still working through it, the request to look at LIW. I've got the entire list that they got the other day, and that was one of the things that came up, is we're actually looking at every parcel that's zoned LIW in the city, and it seems counterintuitive to bring another one up,
Yeah.
to change it to that at this point, since we're looking at what we've already got.
Yeah, I saw the list.
Alright, and then, I'll mention it later, but since we're on planning, the tree ordinance, so there were 5 planning commissioners, I thought it was 4, but then when you sent the list, they had 5. 5 planning commissioners that wanted to be part of just kind of a
Yeah.
work session with council, and I know there were 3 of you guys who volunteered to do that. So I'll be sending out an email, I'm hoping that maybe we can do like a working lunch meeting or something where we can just sit and go through the ordinance and talk about, what we want in it, and maybe, you know, because I think planning commission seemed really supportive of a tree ordinance, and there was even discussion about taking it to the county as well, so,
We have some suggestions on things that some tools we can do to maybe augment what if you wanted to limit what they take out, but also require what people have to put in,
yeah,
so.
I think it'll be a good meeting. All right, so new business number 4 is amending our business license ordinance. You know, we do this every other year. This is stemming back from whenever the municipal association worked through this model ordinance, and so every 2 years we have to update it. So that's on the agenda. There's not really much that's changing. Sarah, do you want to comment? It really wasn't much of a change at all. It's just a little bit of update to the rate classifications, and other than that, it was a pretty simplistic change. If you want to say anything, yeah, you can.
Yeah, just, you know, we have about 700 businesses that will drop one rate, at least one rate. And the biggest of those groups are the beauty shops, barber shops, your nail salons, anything to do with auto mechanics, as far as changing oil, actual car repair. That's gonna be your biggest group. And then your other groups will be real estate, rental, your professional and technical services like lawyers, accountants, that area, and then the healthcare industry. So those are your biggest changes as far as that goes. So why are they dropped? Because revenues dropped, or the code? It's all based on IRS statistical data.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. It's like the next one we're talking about is authorizing the city manager to issue CPW revenue bond anticipation notes. You know, we do this every year. I understand CPW has indicated they don't anticipate the need to issue any bond anticipation notes for the year 2026, but as soon as Julie gets back in, I'll let her add anything that may be relevant. You got anything about CPW revenue bond anticipation notes?
No, we pass this ordinance for them every year. And they said they're not planning to borrow any money in 2026. So.
The ordinance is to authorize them in 2025 or 2026?
In 2026.
Okay. I just like catching typos.
Oh, yeah, there's a typo. Tiffany, will you update that for me? You see that typo, Tiffany?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know, I have a deep voice. I know. Whenever Tiffany's doing the minutes, she'll play the recording back, and I'm like, ugh. I hear my own white man voice, and I'm like, was that Jonathan or me? Okay, new business number 6. This is the levy tax and adopt the budgets for the city. So couple points here. We know we had a pretty in-depth discussion about the budget at our work session of our retreat in October. I just want to kind of paraphrase for you guys what happened in 2025. We did an 8 mil tax increase, and that was also the end of ARPA funding, which was we knew 25 was going to be an interesting year with the ARPA money coming to an end. We did do a 3% cost of living adjustment and a 2% optional merit. And we budgeted to spend $435,000 from fund balance to balance the budget. So the year's going a lot better than we had anticipated. So we're looking at potentially around an $800,000 remaining at the end of the year, and we don't have to use that $435,000 that we budgeted to balance the budget in 2025. That could change with tax collection. Obviously, tax notices just went out, and a lot of our money's not collected until January, and beyond that. So, just that's a moving target, but that's Sarah's best estimate right now. The biggest contributors to that is the insurance business license. That revenue we collected over $560,000 is what we budgeted. Business license looks to be about a break even, and delinquent taxes was almost $100,000 over budget. So. The good news with that surplus is that we do have to pay for that new platform truck that's coming in that was funded partially through the 2016 CPST. So that truck's going to be close to $2 million, and we're getting a little over $1.4 million from CPST, so we will have to cover the difference. So that $800,000 will allow us to do that without dipping into our capital reserves. That truck will probably be here in December or January. So for the 2026 budget, again, I really have to update this slide. We're projecting some really good natural revenue increases, and property taxes, auto taxes, delinquent property taxes, business license, and that insurance business license revenue is increasing quite largely. That's a total natural revenue increase of about $1.4 million, so over a 7% revenue increase. The expenditure increases are highly attributed to the cost of living adjustment. There's a couple of merit increases in the budget that department heads have requested specifically for people that have gotten certifications, for people that have gotten CDLs, folks just that are going above and beyond. We have $725,000 worth of capital expenses in the budget. That includes police cars, a truck for IT, a backhoe in Public Works, a building inspection truck, a pickup truck in Public Works, a bush hog, and a shop truck. So those are all included in your general fund. The capital costs there that I've outlined do not include the $1.073 million for the new engine, just because we don't buy those very often, and that's kind of just a one-off capital expenditure. So I didn't want it to skew kind of the budget numbers there. So you'll see your expenditures are increasing about 8%. Okay, so what's included in the 2026 budget? In the general fund, we have the 3% cost of living adjustment. We have 5 new positions, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And then there's some merit increases there, which is coming out to about $890,000. Your capital equipment asks is $720,000.
Can I pause you 1 second?
Yes.
The merit increases don't equal $890,000,
No.
but the 3% plus the positions and the merit
Correct.
equal.
Yes.
$890, right? Just want to make sure I was clear.
I believe the cost of living is just shy of 400,000. Is that right, Sarah? Each 1% is like 130,000. Capital equipment is 725. Then we have the engine we have to buy. That's the 1.073 million, which leaves you a deficit basically of 1.49 million. And we talked about how if you back that fire engine out, right, which we don't buy fire engines every year. Those are huge expenditures. You got about a $450,000 deficit. So it's a really good budget, honestly.
Yeah, you say you was pleased with it.
Yeah, I was pleased with it. Sarah and I both commented that was probably one of the I don't want to say easy because budgets are not easy, but easier budgets that we've done in my years as the city manager. The Republic increases in there, recall we talked about this before, that after the first 2 years, there would be an increase of 4%. So that will be effective on the 1st of June. There's a retiree health insurance increase of $33,000. That's attributed to, if you guys recall, the ordinance where we had to increase our subsidy, so that's what's driving that. There's actually 5 new positions, that's a typo. So as we have navigated city operations, there's just some things we've noted. One is that we really need a full-time custodian. We used to have William Johnson that was here. He retired. He does help us a little bit part-time at parks, and then we have Public Works. We have a guy with Public Works who comes over here every morning, just to City Hall, empties the trash, cleans the floors. But especially with like park maintenance, we're really seeing a need for a custodian. So that position is included in your general fund, and then there's a portion of that is paid with the park fund, and then a portion through hospitality tax, and that's all just relative to how much time this position is going to spend in certain areas of the city.
What would be the responsibility of the custodian, Julie?
To keep our facilities clean.
This one in,
This one and park facilities, those are our primary
Parks.
needs, yes, ma'am.
okay.
So at the farmer's market too, like
Right, yes.
all the laboratories and.
That's right, yes. Anything you want to add to that, Sarah? No? Okay.
And that's just,
Well, you'll have tourism's facility too in that.
Oh, right, the
Yeah.
Discover Greenwood, the new Palace facility there.
okay.
I mean, they do stuff at the shop and Public Works, they handle their own.
Fire department maintains their own facilities and Public Works does too.
And that's just cleaning, that's not like plumbing, heating.
Correct, so we also need a maintenance person.
Okay, the maintenance person does that stuff, okay.
So we have not historically had a full-time maintenance person. We did have, some folks that work for the city that could kind of fill gaps for us, but a lot of those people have retired. We did have a retired battalion chief from the fire department that wanted to kind of keep working part-time, so we had him here periodically helping us with HVAC and things like that, but he has opted to just retire all the way. And this is a big need for the city. We have a lot of maintenance challenges that we face every single day, especially with restrooms. We spend a good bit of money. I want to say it was close to $50,000 just on outside entities paying plumbers and HVAC technicians to come in here and fix things for us. Jonathan knows, he had to call me the other day because these bathrooms were just backing up everywhere at the Phoenix Field, and I had to get Porta John sent over there.
There was sewer coming out of the drains.
Nice.
So we really need this position. Actually, we really need to go ahead and hire it now because Ed's last day was about 3 weeks ago, and so.
Will that include, first let me back up, back to the custodian, will that person, if you found one, will it consist, how many parks?
How many parks do we have? We have Foundry Park, Gray Street Park, we have West Cambridge Park, we have
Magnolia.
Park, we have the small park on Smythe, which is in your neighborhood, and then, we don't do too much over there, mostly just cutting grass, and then we have, Holman?
And, did you mention Grace?
Yeah.
So that's 8?
I think I counted
6.
6?
I think I counted 6. But we also have the farmer's market, And we have this building, which requires a lot of maintenance. I mean, you just think, like, you need somebody to change the light bulbs. I mean, there's just things that come up, and if you don't have like a go-to person to do that type of stuff, then maintenance will continue to be deferred, and it's just,
Okay.
We also have a communications position in there. We've talked about this position a lot. Personally, I would love to just delete all of our social media, but I guess I can't do that. So we really need somebody internal that can keep all of our websites up to date, that can manage the pushing out of consistent information for the city. There are plenty of times when I'm on the city's Facebook page making posts, Laura's doing it, Gibson's doing it, everybody's doing it, and there's no single person that's effectively driving messaging. Laura and I spent a good portion of our day today working with Abby on the Gray Street ribbon cutting. So, having a dedicated person that can manage all of those communications coming out of the city is something that I would really like to request that we keep in the budget. And a portion of that position is being paid by hospitality tax, yes.
Wasn't that adding to a existing position's responsibilities?
We talked about doing that. We talked about adding it to the event coordinator position, but after really diving into that position and going through the job descriptions, I just don't think that one person can do both of those jobs effectively. Now, I do think that the communications person will work very closely with the event person to ensure that that information is being communicated effectively. But I think we're just going to have the two separate positions. And we had talked a while back about whether or not CPW wanted to share a communications person. We had a meeting with Jeff Meredith last week about a couple of other things, and I asked him, and he said, that they were going to keep an open mind to that. But I think that this person will be busy all the time. All the time.
I said FOIA, Julie.
Oh, and FOIA, yes, FOIA.
Who's currently going for you right now? Sarah?
Laura and Christina are doing it.
And
True. And Julie. I do some, Laura does some, Christina.
It's a lot.
The police department does a lot.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that our IT team saved us a lot of money by creating an internal workflow process that other communities are paying a lot of money for. So it really is a good system.
Are these positions posted anywhere on the city?
Not yet, no. They're not posted because I need y'all to approve the budget first.
We gotta get the budget.
I mean, I thought they was previous already because we had talked about them.
Well, no, they're not posted anywhere.
Okay.
They're not. I'd love to post them now, and if I get a good feeling off of y'all, I might go ahead and post them, but they're not posted anywhere right now.
All right.
And then the chief Chief Shadone had asked for 4 new officers, which I told him that I just didn't think we could support. Not because I don't think they're needed, it's just because I don't know that we can effectively fill them. So we've had some internal discussions. Sarah and I, the chief and I, have talked about how these 2 positions would hopefully give him flexibility to always stay full at 53. Because what happens is you have somebody that leaves and then you drop down to 52 or maybe 51, and then you have such a long hiring process that it takes a long time to get that position filled. So you're low a long time. So really essentially just allows, they're in the budget, it's about $135,000, I think is correct. And it just offers flexibility to keep them full at 53, and if they have enough good candidates to be at 55, they can do that too. There was some debate, I could probably feel Jonathan's brain is spinning. There was some debate about maybe doing 55 on paper, but only budgeting for 54, because the police department tends to carry vacancies throughout the year, but we didn't really think that was responsible budgeting. So we put the 2 in there fully funded.
I was going actually the other way.
Oh, okay.
How many shifts do we have?
4.
We have 4. And so that's where I struggle with this, is because we're gonna add the 2.
Yep.
And then so we're gonna add an officer, like, we have 4 shifts.
Correct. Why don't
So-
you come on up here, Chief?
So,
Yeah,
but,
I know.
and I know where he would probably, if we do have the additional officers, you would put them in the times of day and in the shifts that need the most assistance, if you were to be able to get to 55, right?
Correct. What the ideal plan is, if this is approved with the 2 officers, with them hired, we're gonna put the K-9s on split shifts, so the K-9s will work the hot hours from like 3 to 3. So you'll actually have the extra people here from 3 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning where our high rate is, and there'll always be a K-9 available, except for when the other third one rotates out.
But with 4, you would be able to add a person every single shift, right?
With 4 officers, we would add another person each shift, and we wouldn't go with the split shift.
I know that we'll continue working towards that.
Yes, sir.
Okay? We
Yes,
will.
sir.
But
And this is a big help. It really is.
I think this is a good, like a move in the right direction, because I think it will, it's like he and I talked about. I said 4 positions, you know. And I said, you know, if you remember when we had the ARPA funding, that was the only thing that we budgeted that was recurring expense was for 6 sworn officer positions. But we could not consistently keep them filled. And so it's almost like an exercise, like let's budget for the 2 and see if we can we keep them filled. I mean, I know that the debate is always like, well, the city is growing and all these houses are being built. And so there is going to be consistent and constant evaluation of, you know, do we need to open another fire station? Do we need to expand our police force? Do we need a new sanitation route? So it's probably a move to see how we can fill them.
How many officers is it per shift, Steve?
Right now, 7, ma'am. And the biggest thing when you say 7 is, you gotta look, somebody's always on vacation. If we have a major incident, then you got somebody that's out. You know, just for example, if we have a shooting, at officer, whether it's a good shooting or not, is gonna be out 4, 5, 6 months sometimes, depending on what SLED and how long it takes them to do the investigation. Same way, use of force. We have a use of force and it's being investigated by SLED, that officer's gonna be, he's gonna be out. He won't have any police duties for, you know, until they finish their investigation.
So when they go out like that brings them at 7 down.
Correct. Because usually, most time, anything we have like that is usually uniform patrol, because that's where the bulk of answering all of our cars go to.
TJ did assure me that we would not have to buy 2 more vehicles for these officers.
Yeah. She was a lot more meaner in our meeting than she is tonight. I'm just playing. Thank you.
Is that because we already have enough vehicles?
Yes, sir.
Or they just won't require?
No, from what we've got, so this year we just won't take an extra. We'll keep an extra 2 online instead of taking the 4 offline that we were going to take.
Gotcha.
I will tell you, since the last time we had this conversation, and when we got our packet, it went from 0 to 2, so.
Very happy.
You ought to be.
Very happy.
Right?
So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
We are still paying off our infrastructure reimbursement agreements, so there's $274,000 in the budget for that. It's a $66,000 increase from last year's budget. Sewer reimbursements, we're also still doing those. $27,000, that's actually a little bit of a decrease from last year. Eventually those will be gone.
How many years do you think it'll take to get rid of those? How many more years do we have?
We still have one infrastructure reimbursement agreement that you guys have to approve, and I'm waiting on some things from the city county engineer. And that will be the last one that can be approved, so 10 years.
But that one's not a big one though, right? That's still off
I think there's a little bit of confusion. So this one was done in phases, and so you have to have your infrastructure in ground by a certain date. So some of the phases will be included and some of them won't. I found no less than 7 plats on GIS for this subdivision, and they all say different lots for different phases. So I have to nail down how many lots are actually qualify for the reimbursement in this last one. So. But we sell Milford Pines Phase 2 and 3. We have Milford Pines Phase 1. Is that one? Yeah, so 1, 2, and 3. We have Claiborne. Bentley Park is the pending one, and the cottages at Emerald Farm. So those are the only ones that are still hanging out there. If you ever want to be lulled to sleep, Ms. Edwards, I can give you a whole history lesson. I did want to point out, just to disregard the CTC, that's an in and out account, so it really skews your revenue numbers from 25 to 26, because in 25 we got 435,000, and in 26 we have 1.25 million, so it makes the revenue number look skewed, so just disregard. Y'all may not like this slide, but I thought it was kind of important just to see the proposed budget is at 23,425,548. It's an increase of 3.26 million over 2025, but it's attributed largely to that difference in the CTC. I mentioned that big capital purchase for the engine, the cost of living adjustment and the equipment. If you just include like those, the COLA and the merit and the new positions and the capital equipment, it's really only like an 8% increase versus like a 16% on paper. 1 mil of tax is looking to be about $56,000. You guys do have 18 mills available to you. If you wanted to raise taxes, there is no tax increase in the budget. You have a deficit of the 1.49 million, and that we're balancing the budget with the capital fund balance. Which is all of what I just said. Okay. The current balance in your capital fund is 5.44 million. I do want to point out that we're looking to get about $1 million back from FEMA. So that money will go back in, that can go back into fund balance. And we will be able to sell the hazmat truck. Once we get the new platform truck in and get trained and get on the road, we should be able to sell that truck. And so that money also will offset a lot of this. So I'm hopeful that we can almost fully replenish what we spend in 2026.
Are we really gonna get the FEMA money?
Yes, I don't know. I mean, sure. I don't know. I
I mean, you sound more.
I mean,
more
she's,
convinced
I
than
feel
last
like,
time we talked.
I mean, I feel like she's asking because of the federal government. From everything that we know, yes, we had a meeting with them today. So there's no indication from our FEMA contacts that the money's not coming.
Okay. Do we know when the money's supposed to come? That's my question.
No, listen, I'm on my third FEMA rep and my
I
fourth
know.
state rep. And today, we had a good meeting, but we're gonna have to back up a little bit to resubmit some things because we have new representatives, so, but it's moving in a good direction.
Well, the thing is, I think my indication is we passed this budget thinking that we're gonna get, thinking we're gonna get this 1 million from FEMA. But the time, how critical is the timing of when we get that 1 million?
I mean, even if you don't get anything back to replenish it, you're still looking at $4 million in your capital fund balance.
I understand that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just greedy. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean,
I want that money from FEMA because it's owed to us.
Sure, yeah, I'm with you. I have no reason to think that we won't get it.
Okay.
One question. When was in the retreat? You say maybe 300 or 800,000 for the old truck.
Oh, we said between 4 and 5 we were hoping to get. But don't hold me to that, because you never know what it'll, legitimately sell for once you put it out there. Also just want to point out that the HTAX budget has the $2 million for Phoenix Field in it, and then the $355,000 for a new street sweeper. Okay, that's all I have on the budget. Oh, you know what? There was one other item I had in there, but I think I deleted a slide in lieu of a different slide. But we also addressed some pay for firefighters at the certified firefighter level to increase that pay up a little bit. It's kind of similar, argument for police pay, right? It's like every time you make a move, somebody else makes a move, and somebody else makes a move. So in an attempt to stay competitive and ensure that those folks were getting $15 an hour their hours are calculated a little different than a 40-hour employee, but that's also included in the budget. Okay, any questions about the budget?
Thank you for your hard work.
New business number 9 is gonna be to authorize the city manager to execute a loan agreement with the Greenwood Community Theater. Tripp, do you wanna touch on this one at all?
Sure.
Thank you.
So, background on that, you're aware the building has structural, or some, no, not structural, but has some issues that need to be addressed. And it has CP, capital sales project tax money coming, but it's not gonna pay in time to actually get the stuff done, and time is of the essence. So, there is a proposed loan agreement in which the city will loan the money to the nonprofit. In exchange, the requirements of the nonprofit would be, of course, a promissory note, balloon payment that would be paid. I don't have it in front of me, but
$371,478,
right by when?
December 2029.
And in addition to the note, we would have a mortgage on the real estate to collateralize that note. Also, they have a money market that we would take an assignment of. That is not to take their money, that is just additional collateral. And also, if they are dipping into other funds, along with the funds that we're getting, we would have to get notice that those funds are coming out. So no problem with the nonprofit being honest with us, no worries. But if things change, it's just another way for us to get information. And then also a lien on the, or an assignment of the CPSD money, so that when it gets paid, it has to come.
Direct.
Yes, so we are being collateralized the best way that we can to protect the taxpayers of Greenwood.
In that regard, I mean, I'm certainly not looking to make anything off of it, but would some interest just make sense there?
So in the note, the interest rate is left blank. That's going to be something for council to decide. I know that there is if we have the money sitting in an account, it's earning something. So
that's what I mean.
So by putting the money somewhere else, we are losing the interest that we would otherwise gain. So either it's going to be some calculation, nominal amount of interest for replacement of the interest income.
That's all I'm interested in.
Or it'll be, I mean, I think I don't know if it's been decided yet if the city is going to manage that, like they ask for the money and then they get it, or if we're just going to say, here you go, you figure out your own bills. That might have some play on the interest rate, but
The internal discussion was basically, if council were to approve it, do we give it all to them in a lump sum, or do we hold it so it continues to earn interest on our behalf? My feeling, and I think Tripp relatively agreed, to just give it to them, because then they manage the procurement of it and all of that, so there's no additional
Sarah time, really.
Yeah, and then we would just require them to submit quarterly reports on how they've used the money and what work they've completed.
Just give them the lump sum.
Right, and we debated the whole interest rate. Do we charge them interest? You know, we've done loans in the past. We do them through Uptown. We always do 2% below prime, but not less than 3%. So we could do something like that. I did talk a little bit with Stephen Gilbert about this, and I asked Tripp if we could meet with him after tonight so we could just clarify some things. But one of the requests that he made was, could we just determine what the interest would be and then reduce his H-tax allocation to the tune of that same amount of money? I don't know. I think there's a lot of options. So, but if council wants to obviously charge an interest, then we can work that into.
Yeah, I want him to know it's certainly not anything we're looking to profit off of, but, you know, we do have to be responsible to the taxpayers.
Right.
And I'd just like to know what we would have earned off of it
I think it was like $41 a day.
I think I figured at $41 a day with a lump sum, with the rate that we were throwing around. And it's gonna change with whatever the earnings rate is, but you can figure a per diem, fairly easily.
Okay.
And part of that agreement, it would be stated that this is an unforgivable loan, correct?
Oh, and it is to be paid back in a balloon by the date that we talked about.
It says you can pay it back in a lump sum by December 2029. We chose that date because the estimation is that the money will be available to GCT by December 2028, but you just don't ever know if it comes a little later or a little bit earlier, so.
You understand what I'm asking?
It's absolutely to be repaid, yeah. I mean, we've been assured that,
I would feel a lot better is if it was stated on the front side, because I'm telling you, nonprofits are going to get to a point and they're gonna say, hey, do you think they'll forgive a portion of this loan?
we can put it on there, that's fine.
I think it would be very wise to do that because,
I have a draft resolution for the nonprofit too, that I can put another thing in there that says, under no circumstances is this a forgivable loan.
that's right.
Okay.
And I guess, you know, we can't necessarily bind the future council either, I mean.
I think that's protecting the
Oh,
future
yeah, that's
council.
protecting.
Yeah,
future
I mean,
council.
I think it states the position that it's not a forgivable loan. Now, if a future council decides to go do that through a vote, that's for a future council, but under the contract documents, they can't then have a position contrary.
So what I'd like to do coming off the work session is if there's a general comfort level, Tripp and I will set up a meeting with Stephen Gilbert and we'll go through we'll go through the agreement and the collateral and all that. And, interest, and we will come back to you guys with a proposal, hopefully on the 17th, but if not, then maybe the December meeting. Just depends on how quickly we can navigate the documents. Any questions there? All right, 26 calendar. So this is pretty consistent with what we do every single year. It's got our holidays on there. The only thing that's a little bit different in 2026 was the way our holidays fall. It's like, it says if a holiday falls on a Friday, if a holiday falls on a Saturday, we take it on Friday. If it falls on Sunday, we take it on Monday. But Christmas Day was like really funky, so we just opted for December 24th and 25th. And then I believe I don't remember how that falls, Tiffany, do you remember?
It's Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
And so we would take Thursday and Friday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
And then the
Sunday
26th
after.
is Saturday,
Yes.
27th is Sunday, so you'd have a pretty long Christmas break doing it that way, rather than taking off the 28th, which didn't really make a lot of sense.